Hello, this is Solomon Davis, Right Side Trader. Today is February 3rd, 2024, and this is my weekly market review, where I'm reviewing the Russell 2000 on a quarterly chart, monthly chart, weekly chart, and a daily chart. This is all for educational purposes only. As we all know, trading is risky. You can lose money at trading. So please check with your financial advisor. Please check with your significant other and make sure trading is something that is suitable for you. All right, let's jump right over here to the charts and see what we see. We're going to be looking at the dog of the indexes here. It just hasn't joined the party yet on the quarterly chart. The Russell is still fighting some resistance, some supply levels that I have set here. And old supply that was in the market from a couple of years ago. The Russell is definitely struggling compared to the other indexes. It's hanging out again. The Russell, tight range, big range. What kind of range will it be in this year? That's what we are seeing here now on the Russell. Let me go ahead and go down to the monthly chart and see what we see here. Let me see how the Russell, again, like here's that range, a bigger range, and right now, this first month, January, it end up being a red month, but it didn't drop as much as it normally would drop yet. That's all I can say, yet, So right now, the first couple of days of February, we have a green doji, just a couple of days, just a day. So we got to see what the Russell is actually going to do. It's what I would call an inside. Excuse me. What I call an inside money at this time. Let's go ahead and go down to the weekly chart and see what we see there. Maybe a little bit more information here. On the weekly chart, we had gapped up but again, we didn't get that confirmation of that gap, and we started pushing back down. This thing has come down here and kind of filled that gap, not a complete fill like you would like to see with a body feel of that gap, but it has filled that gap in the way I look at gaps But again, some people look at gaps, well, it really is not filled until a body has filled that gap. So again, this thing still has potential to go to the downside, the way the Russell does like filling its gaps with bodies. So that's still in play, and we're still up here at a supply level where this Russell has been having a hard time getting above. We have actually got below one of my lines here, and it ended up closing quite a bit. It ended up closing the week below pivot, and this is the month below pivot. It started out above pivot, but that first week we ended up below pivot, and it ended up staying below pivot. So the Russell is one of these ones that kind of is in his own little world, and I know it can end up going sideways here in a very tight range, and we just need to see if it's going to establish a range and where is it going to be at. And that's all I really want to say about that. I don't want to get too much into any numbers, but you can see the numbers here, and you can see maybe this far down. Right now, I doubt if it goes that far down since it did what it did over here. It maybe down to this level right here, to the low of this candle. Again, because you had pretty good supply coming out of here and a pretty good run up here. So again, the Russell is one of these ones that you just got to play what you see. And but that's what I see here right now. The Russell is going to be a hard one to call in this year, probably, the way the Russell is. We have to kind of like wait, give it another month and see if it's established any kind of pattern. All right, let's go ahead and go down to the daily chart and see what we see here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. See how the Russell is really getting really choppy. It looks like a bad stock to me. It chop, but this is it. It goes sideways like that, and it drops. It drops and comes right up from a support 2 level on a weekly and zooms up for a few days. Then it gets into an area. I was expecting it to break this area. It barely broke this area right here. And I was kind of thinking that it could go higher and try to fill these gaps up here. But it couldn't get past the supply that dropped off. And right now it has, again, on this last green day that it had here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On Monday, this thing formed a bearish-looking pattern, and it's been dropping ever since. That's not a lower high, but it did make a lower low. That's a lower high. It did make a lower low. That's a lower high, and it didn't quite make a lower low. It's doing what it did before. It ended up bouncing off of a support 2 level on these weekly pivots, and it's reversed. The thing is, though, now come up next week, we're going to be opening below pivot. The question is, will this thing reverse and go back above pivot, or will it follow one of my rules? Below pivot, stay below pivot, and will we establish a low for the Russell for the year and see if these first 2 months establish a range for the Russell for the year? So then that's what I see here. That's what I'm trying to look at here on the Russell, and that's all I really want to share today here on the Russell. Again, this is Solomon, Right Side Trader. Hope you guys have a great week. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye.